Well, hello, and welcome to Parenting Autism, episode number 17.
17.
If it was 19, it'd be the date of my birthday, which is coming up this week. But
True.
We'll go with 17.
True.
Hey.
That's a milestone birthday we may or may not want to talk about.
I have no problem celebrating 50. I have no shame in it, and I've been celebrating it since the beginning of the month. It's just a chance to celebrate life. In all seriousness, that is how I feel about birthdays, because I lost someone extremely close to me when I was 29 and he was only 31. And at that point, if anybody complains about having a birthday, I feel like they're really missing the perspective that we have life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
every day.
I celebrate it.
Yeah,
so if people wonder why I celebrate more than just on the 19th and I celebrate a week and sometimes a month, that would be why, because I'm extremely grateful for the gift of life.
Awesome. So I'm going to start us out with a trivia question.
All right, I'm ready. Springing on me.
Okay. We have listeners on every continent of the world except for one.
Really? Well, if I were to guess one, I would say Antarctica, only because of the lack of technology that may not be there.
Ding, ding, ding.
Woo!
You got it. We have 0 listeners on the continent of Antarctica, but we know there's people there. There's scientists and people, looking at the ice.
They may find us.
I hope they do. Somebody out there has autism.
That's very awesome.
Yeah.
Super exciting. I love that little tidbit there.
Yep.
Coolio. So, we're here on a Saturday evening, and we do have Bryce in the house. Warning. He could come in. But actually, he is watching a new movie that you rented for him from the library, and it's a real winner, and it was The Little Einsteins, right?
Yes.
And when he was a baby, we played Baby Einstein for him quite a bit, and he actually liked that, the old MacDonald and the farm. I remember we had those Baby Einsteins, and you're like, I don't get it. Why does he sit there and watch those? I just don't get it. And I'm like, well, they're designed for babies. I don't know. It must work for his mind. Little did we know we had a little, mechanical genius sitting there. But but he really does like this little Einstein. And it has to do with a rocket ship, which is why you chose it. But it transforms into a train, and it transforms into a submarine, and he loves all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
And we got it from the library. Hey, I want to mention that because...
Well, that's going to be one of our lead-in to Daddy's summer camp.
Okay, well, everybody should have a library close to them. And the great news is a lot of the catalogs are online now. So all I did was go to our library and search in the subject rockets, and I picked DVDs, and that thing came up, and
That's
I was
awesome.
like, perfect. And you can even request a hold from another library, like one across town had it. So I put it on hold. They deliver it to my local one.
That's so neat.
And we picked it up, and he loves it. So
I love it. And, having him watch movies is actually a new thing as well, because he has not had the attention span to sit and really watch a whole movie for quite some time, except a Mickey Mouse episode, but only a few select ones. So we're trying to expand that. And we noticed at church that when we were picking him up on the Tuesday night class we're attending, he would be watching a movie sitting there with the other kids. So we're like, hey, let's do that and give it a try. So after school ended, last week you decided you were going to do Daddy's school, right? And then you changed it up to Daddy's summer camp.
Daddy's school didn't sound fun like Daddy's summer camp would.
Right. And so we want Bryce, it's kind of like ambiguous way to teach him, where he doesn't know that we're teaching him, but it's fun.
Right.
I was going to say inconspicuous, but I knew I was going to use the wrong word. So anyway, so I think that's really great. And that, to me, is a lot of what ABA taught us when we had people working with him is the more we can make it seem like it's fun and it's not work, but we're still teaching him things, that's what's really cool. And when you told me you were going to do the library and get him the movie about planes, it's the cartoon Planes, which is similar to the cartoon Cars, which he knows Lightning McQueen. He didn't know the planes, but he's so into airplanes right now. So we're following his lead and his interests. But when you told me that because I was at work when you played it for him, but when you sent me the text saying that he sat and he watched the whole thing, I was sharing with my coworker that what we were doing, and I just said, this is great teaching for Bryce to be able to sit still and stay focused, because when he goes into school, he's going to have situations where he's going to have to sit and remain focused. So we're preparing him for what's lying ahead for him in a fun way.
Yeah, I think there's two things I want to point out there. Is one is we want to focus on his interests, because when we do something for him that he's interested in, he talks more about it.
Yes.
B, he's more focused on it.
Yes.
And C, I think there's some things to learn when he engages with those types of things. If we do something he's not interested in, then we're going to lose him after 5 minutes. So the great thing is he did sit through the whole Planes movie, and he watched it once or two more times after that. I was going to
say he requested it again.
And the library is a great way, especially for us parents that have a kid on the spectrum, is to try things out. If he really, really loves a movie that he wants to see over and over again, well, then you can go buy it, But if you go to the store, he might like this movie, and then it's a bomb, he loses interest after 1 minute, then you spent that money. And it's not going to do anything.
That's an extremely valid point. And the same thing with the books, because we're going by topics, and we know that we've discovered now that he really likes I think they call them like cardboard books. Is that what it is? Where it's not paper, but
you said cardboard, and it totally threw my mind.
Something board.
It's like not a hardback.
It's not a hardback because every page is thick.
Oh, I can't.
And it's not paper. But those are the ones that he seems to like best, and also we like it because the papers can't tear. But
they're thick pages, yeah.
And he likes it where not a
board book.
Board book.
Yep,
there we go.
That's what it's called.
Ding, 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 ding. So we like that because, and the ones we're finding, they don't have a whole lot of words. They do have the pictures, but they rhyme. He likes it when they rhyme, and then he likes to memorize them.
I think it helps him remember the words when they rhyme like that.
It does, and he's now asking all the time, what does that start with? And now not only is he asking us, like I hear him sounding it out and saying, bottle, or whatever the word is that he's trying to think of. Like he's saying it out loud, he's sounding, and he'll go, bottle. Yeah. Bottle starts with B,
Which leads me to our next revelation is, a lot of this has come about since we've changed his diet in the past couple of weeks.
Diet and consistent with the supplements. I think they go hand in hand.
I think I was pretty consistent with the supplements before we started the accountability paper on the refrigerator.
And I think the chart's been tremendous help.
It has.
Because we missed 2 days last week, and one was just like because he wasn't feeling well, and the other was just because the day passed. But if I see it on the fridge, it helps me bring it up to you. And actually, Bryce last night asked for them on his own after his meal. He's like, oh, it's time.
So it was good. But I think the real difference maker has been the gluten-free, dairy-free.
Yeah. Well, and it must be more the gluten, which we've always heard that, because we had him off the dairy, and the dairy cleaned up his sinuses, which I have to say, if his head was not, like if that was making him stuffy, I know what it's like when I have it and I feel like I have a cold or allergies, and your head is just stuffy and it's hard to stay focused, right? You don't have a lot of clarity and clear thoughts. So we got the dairy out of him, and everything dried up, which was fantastic. His face cleared up. His sniffles were gone. So I think that helped. And then since we've taken the gluten out, and I know it's been 10 days straight, and we're really consistent on it now, but he just seems a lot more present, more engaged.
He's saying,
definitely talking more, less sounds and more words.
Yeah, and saying things that we haven't heard him say before.
That's true.
Like when your kid wakes up and the first thing he says is, "Hi, I want to be an astronaut." You jump up and down inside because, hey, he's never done that before.
I know.
So
yeah.
I know we tried this when he was first diagnosed. We tried for about 30 days, I think.
I don't even know if we made it that long, to be honest.
But we were so overwhelmed with everything that was going on, and we just had no plan. And plus, he didn't like as many foods at that age. So we weren't really... And I do believe we saw some results at that time, but it was just so overwhelming. We had to put it on the back burner because we had too many other things that we were worried about with him at that time. So now that he likes, hot dogs and
right, we found the gluten-free, all natural ones, and there's so many options now.
Yeah, there's chips, there's sweet potatoes, he likes steak and chicken.
Well, he likes meat now, and that helps tremendously.
And some vegetables.
And it doesn't have to be chicken nuggets, because honestly, it used to have to be certain nuggets, and I know that's with a lot of typical kids too, but trying to get him around that, we couldn't. But he's without pizza now, and there's no complaints.
And, if we really need to get him over a hurdle with the food, we'll offer him a gluten-free chocolate chip cookie. Yeah. And that's a door opener right there.
Gluten-free, dairy-free. Yeah.
So.
And we found several, and I think that's it. We've prepared. I went to the grocery store again today to make sure we had adequate snacks on hand, because he does like grapes, and he does like grapefruit, and he likes eggs.
And
He'll
oranges.
eat eggs for breakfast or
bacon.
lunch or dinner. He doesn't care. And
I think what's important with what we're giving him now is we have to be careful with the gluten-free aisle at the grocery store, because a lot of that stuff still is processed food. Right. That has a lot of sugar or whatever in it. So we're really focusing on giving him the things that
trying more
processed.
Of a clean, natural diet with an occasional treat, because hey, we all like a treat, and we have found an acceptable treat.
The cookie is the exception there.
Yeah. So we're excited. I mean, there's been a lot of extra happiness and joy floating through the Coulter Hotel.
There has been.
Right? Don't you feel that? Because he is, again, he's so much more present. He's like constantly just calling our names and then wanting us to participate in whatever he's participating in. Or he'll just be like, "Hi, Daddy. I need a big hug," like spontaneously. And he is just so aware of our presence. Yeah. And then again, like we plan for him on the calendar, because that's his big routine that he loves. But he'll wake up in the morning, one morning he wants to be an astronaut. The next morning he'll wake up and the first thing he'll say is, "Okay, let's get ready to go to Mama and Papa's," because he knows that's where you were taking him. And he's just so present.
And what brought this all on was I felt it was time to see an actual autism doctor, one that specializes in autism. We have one here locally that's known around the world. People from all over the world come and see him, and he is very expensive to see. And you brought up, it was one of us that brought up to say, "Hey, what do we need to do before we see him?"
I said that,
Yeah, what tests do we need to do? I said, well, he's probably going to want to know that we tried the gluten-free, dairy-free diet. And you're like, okay, we got to do that. So that's what started that.
It did, because I had told you, before you even mentioned the doctor, I said to you, it's really weighing on my mind and my heart that I feel like he's just not moving at the pace I feel like. Are we doing everything we can do? I just feel like there can be more. If there isn't more, then okay. But I feel in my heart like I'm just not doing enough. And I was feeling, I don't want to say guilt, because that's the wrong word, but I felt a little helpless. Like, what else can I do to help him? You know, I only have so many hours in the day, and I want to love on him. I'm a natural nurturer, but I want to do more than just snuggle and kisses. How can I help him?
Yeah.
And that's when you said, well, man, I think it's time for us to take him to the doctor. And I'm like, well, what's he going to say? And that's when you said that. And then I'm like, well, go ahead and get on the list, because it's probably going to be 6 months out anyway. But then let's put him on this diet for 6 months. And then let's see really where we are. Or what else can be done, but we would know we had done everything. So again, we're only a couple weeks into this, like truly into it. Mm-hmm. Is it coincidence? I don't know, but we'll continue to report back.
You always
but
have
is this
that
exciting right now?
You always have that in the back of your mind. Is it just a developmental milestone that he's hitting? Is it just a growth spurt? Is it the diet change? So,
or is it just because he's 5, almost 6, and this is where it starts to kick into gear? Because I've always heard that at a certain age it'll be like, oh, it'll just take off. I don't know.
So,
but we're not going to stop what we're doing, because whatever we're doing right now, I feel much better about it than how I felt a month ago when I was saying,
me too.
I feel like we got to do more. So.
And I feel like that's always at the forefront of people's minds too, is, what else can we do for our kid,
Yeah. And at a certain point, it may be like, okay, we've done what we can do. And I think, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's good. I'm really excited about it. I was really glad that we put those tools together with the chart. We really don't even need, I had created the one to like make a note if we went outside of the diet and gave him anything dairy or gluten to record a reaction. But we're being so rigid that that's not necessary. We're like, both of us, game on. This is what he's getting and this is what he's eating and drinking, and it's been really good. Okay, so I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay,
so you kind of took this on your own, which is fantastic and makes my heart really happy to see this.
The Daddy Summer Camp.
The Daddy Summer Camp. And you started putting your list together. So where was your logic coming from and your creativity to start putting this list together? And we're going to talk about a few more of the things that you've done so far.
Okay. So I think it all started when I looked at the local summer camps. So there was a music summer camp. There was a equestrian, which is horses, summer camp, and a couple other summer camps. And I thought, well, anything outside is just going to be blazing hot here in Florida in the summer, and he just gets overheated quickly. And the music one, they were like, well, you can try it out, but we would suggest that you become a member first, and then maybe you can pay for the summer camp. So, I mean,
didn't he have to do like so many days there before they would take him because of his autism and complicated?
And they were
inexpensive.
These camps,
a little bit.
The camps are not cheap. So I'm like,
I should just say they're not free.
They're not free. They're not free.
Yeah.
To some people, they might be cheap.
Right, I was going to say, that's all relative.
They might be cheap. I don't know. But so I'm like, well, for as much as they're charging, I can do my own camp. And, because I'm going to be here anyway. It's my chance to spend extra special time with him. School's out. When we had him in school, half a day morning, and then in the afternoon, he would get home at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then, the day's kind of over. There's not much you can do. I don't want to continue to teach him things at that point because it's just exhausting for him, and he needs to be a kid.
Yep.
So this summer gives me the opportunity to do fun things that I think he'll enjoy. So the first thing that came to my mind was the library because it was free. And we saw that he was watching the movie at church, and I'm like, okay, what movie can I get? He loves planes. Let me type in planes, and there it was, the Planes movie. So got that done. And then what was the... you
got Cars with
then
Lightning
we got
McQueen.
Cars, Lightning McQueen. That. He watched that a couple of times.
And then I know we were talking about the library a bit earlier extensively, but the other thing is, for Bryce, he memorizes books relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. So I don't want him to just sit there and recite books to us. I want him to have to learn to read.
Right.
And so by having the library there and available to us, then we're able to say, oh, this one has to go back.
Yes.
We have to get a new one. And then we'll let him get that same one that he's memorized a few weeks later.
Yeah.
And he still has it memorized, and we'll recite it. But...
So
he is put in a position that he has to learn a new one.
Yeah, and he knows now that the library, you borrow books and they go back at a certain time. So he's not surprised. He's not upset. He knows that eventually they have to go back to the library.
Yeah, so that's been a fantastic resource for us, for sure. Highly recommend it to anybody that hasn't taken full advantage of that free resource.
Yeah.
All right, so that's cool. I love that. And your next one then you came up with
was that the indoor soccer?
Was the airport.
Oh, the airport. Yes.
Now not the not part 2, but part
Part
1.
one, yeah. So we have 2 regional airports near us, and regional airports are smaller airports. And, of course, he's into planes, so I thought, well, let me take him to the airport and see, how close we can get to the planes. I can show him where the control tower is, and, I kind of ramped him up for it, and he was excited. So we went to the first airport, and they had this terminal there, and it had probably 30 seats in there for people waiting on arrivals or departures, and because it's that small. And so we walked into the main building there, which is probably about the size of a house, and there was nobody in there. I was like, hello. We're like going into different offices, and he's like, well, where do we see the plane? Where's the planes? Where's the planes? And I'm like, okay, hold on, buddy. So just then somebody walked in, and they had a badge on, and I'm like, hey, I was like, my son loves planes. We're here to watch planes. Is there somewhere we can go? And he's like, yeah, you can go right into the terminal waiting room right there, and then there's like the windows from floor to ceiling, and you can see out onto the tarmac.
Great.
And so we watched planes come and go there for, I don't know, probably 30 minutes. And he was kind of getting bored because we couldn't really hear them. I think it's like soundproof or something. They must have impact windows. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's go outside and maybe go over to the fence and look through the fence. So we went outside, and there happened to be this jet, a small jet there with the engines on, and he thought that was really cool, and it was moving away. So when the jet moved away, we kind of walked over to the fence where it was so we could watch it more, and there was some type of, not a Jeep, but a little cart there, motorized cart where they hook planes up and stuff, and somebody had left their radio on it. So we could hear the radio communication between the pilots and the control tower right there. And so that was on the other side of the fence, but it was right there to where we could hear it. So he was excited, and the planes were taking off, and he could see them go up into the sky above the clouds. And so that was a big deal. And so he really liked that. And so that was one of the summer camp days, and that was a lot of fun.
That was. And, it's so funny because I didn't even think about the regional airports. So I really give you big props on that, because we had gone to the airport 2 weekends ago when I was flying out to meet my friend. And so it was a big deal that he got to watch the planes take off and go. And I said, oh, you maybe you can bring him down here one day, because my mind is thinking like national airport. Mm-hmm. But when you're like, said you wanted to take him to the regional airport, I'm like, oh, that's great. It may not have as much traffic, but he could still see the planes go, landing, taking off.
When we picked you up from the airport, we actually went down to where they have a little park there at the international airports, to where you can watch arrivals and departures, but the runway was so far away, it was just hard to see everything. But when you go to the regional airport, everything's up close and right there. So, it was really cool. So
we'll fast forward. So then you had another brilliant idea. Your genius has been working hard lately.
Oh, thank you very much.
But anyway, so you put it out on Facebook to say...
Oh, yeah, because of the control tower.
Because you couldn't really see it or get near it when you were at the other one.
And we've been reading the book called Planes Fly, and he really likes that book. I don't know who the author is, but it's called Planes Fly. And one of the pages inside the control tower with the guy on the microphone talking to the pilots. And so he mentions that a lot, so I knew that was a big interest for him. So
you put it out on Facebook and said, I would like to take Bryce to a local airport. If somebody works there, or if you know someone who works there that might have access to the control tower, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I was just, you
just put it out there.
I just put it out there.
Who knew, right? So then, because we do photography, we were part of a photography guild down in West Palm.
Yeah.
And you're Facebook friends with one of our fellow photographers who lives up closer to our area, and then her husband works at the
regional airport.
Yeah, what's it called?
Witham Field and Stewart.
Witham Field Airport in Stewart. And so, anyway, he
She
went and
says-
asked his boss, and
Yeah,
then
she says my husband works at the airport. You know that would, and she had like a laughing face, and so I direct messaged her and I
Yeah.
said, hey, you know, can he give us some type of tour, or you know, what does he do there, blah blah. And she's like, yeah, let me talk to him and see. And he was just excited about it as we were.
he was not just him, their whole office.
Yeah.
Everybody there I felt like they made us feel like celebrities, and they were
Yeah.
saying that we brightened their day.
Right.
It was so amazing. And it was great because you had it set up for 9 in the morning. Actually, they set it up for 9, and it was like 5 minutes away from where I work.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I go into work at 9. I'm like, I'm going. Let's do this
Yeah.
one. And so I was able to go with you guys, and we toured for about an hour.
It
or
was
so.
about an hour.
And so it was great. We went in and met everybody in the administrative office, and then he drove us over in a really nice air-conditioned vehicle, as opposed to standing outside and watching planes.
Yeah.
We were inside of an air-conditioned vehicle watching them, and he knew exactly where to park so that we could see them coming in and going over our vehicle.
And Bryce
so
could look out the window.
he could look out the window. He knew how to set everything up. And then Bryce would put the window down when he wanted to see stuff closer and put his little head out. It was so cute.
Yeah.
And then he drove us over to the control tower. On the way, there were the helicopters that for the sheriff. And Bryce, he spotted the helicopters.
He spotted them before we
He
did.
did. He called those out. So he was really excited to see those. And he was pointing, which, you know, is a big thing in autism land.
Yeah.
He was like pointing literally out the window. Look, helicopters. He saw the helipad. And then Mark wanted to know if he liked tractors. And we're like, yeah, I mean, he hasn't been around a lot of them, but he was so excited. So they had the huge
big
tractor that they used for the mower to mow the lawn. And so Bryce climbed right up in there, and Mark turned
started
it
it up,
on.
yeah.
And Bryce was like, take the steering wheel shifts. I mean, you know, he took real interest in all of that, and it didn't seem too loud for him because I think the excitement overpowered the sound, you know, in his mind. So that was cool. And then we went on over to the control tower, and they had an elevator that took us up. So that's always a bonus for Bryce. And then we walked up the stairs till we got there, and then he got to see everything in there and operate their emergency light, which I think he thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the red, yellow.
It looked like
white.
a megaphone with lights, different colors. So yeah, it had that.
They use that if the radios go out in the airplanes.
Yeah. And then he liked their microwave because, you know, he likes anything that's mechanical in there. That's kind of cracked me up. Oh,
But he was
a
looking
microwave.
out the window at the planes.
He was
landing
looking
and
at the
taking off.
planes. He
Yeah.
was looking at all the dials and everything. And then as they were talking and a pilot would call in, he'd be like, there's the pilot.
Yeah,
He's talking to the pilot.
Pilot's talking to the
Yeah,
air
so
traffic
he was really,
controller.
really
Yeah,
excited
so-
about that. And
Yeah.
so anyway, it was tremendous. And we
Yeah.
literally got permission to drive down the runway like as if a plane was taking off from 2,000
Yeah.
feet
And
to
Bryce
1,000
was like, go
feet.
really fast.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he loved it all. We loved it all. They loved having us there.
Oh,
They
it's
gave
just
him
so
a
nice.
goodie bag of things. And that leads me to, in that bag, they had given him several wooden airplanes.
Oh, yeah.
And so
The balsa wood airplanes.
yeah, so that night we had put one together, and Bryce was pretending to fly it, you know, kind of, which is a big deal because he doesn't use a whole lot of
Pretend.
imaginative play. So then you said, you were like doing, you know, telling him takeoffs and stuff, but then you remember that we bought those walkie-talkies
Yeah.
that we took on the cruise
Yeah.
so we could talk to each other. And so anyway, we found them, and all of a sudden I'm hearing from the other room, you're going, what do you say to him when you're doing that? You're going,
Bryce Coulter, you're clear for takeoff, runway 03. Oh, he got so excited
it's
when
so
he heard
awesome.
it coming over
He gets
the radio.
extremely serious.
Yeah.
Then he gets his plane, and then he'll take it off the runway and then up into the air, and then he flies it through the house
Through
with
the
this
house.
completely serious expression on his
Yeah.
face, and then he'll bring it back in,
Comes in
and
for
then
a
you tell him,
landing.
okay, you're
Yeah.
clear for a landing.
Clear for landing.
Yeah, you tell him all that stuff, and then he
Yeah.
comes in, he brings it in for the landing, and then he just starts happy flapping.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's
Oh, yeah.
so cute.
That made my day.
Yeah, you know, so it's like all these little things that we're doing is bringing all of this out of him, you know, and the imaginative play and so many
like another
really interesting things.
That his school gave him a beach ball. So one day, Daddy summer camp was indoor beach ball soccer. So you guys may or may not want to do this at home, but
depends on your number of breakables.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of breakables that are up high, but we kept it on the ground mostly because it was soccer, and I told him it was soccer. But it was really fun for him to kick that around and me to kick with him, and he just got excited. And when I saw his excitement, we just played that for a long time. And then earlier this week, we went to the pool. And at first, when I asked him, do you want to go swimming? It was a big fat no. And a lot of times he'll do that. He'll say no right off the bat. And then when he gets to wherever it is and he sees it, then he warms up to the idea. So I said, yeah, we have to go on the highway, you know, to go to the pool because we don't have a pool here. So if you have a friend that has a pool or whatever, it's a great idea during the summer, obviously. So we also want to keep him up on his swimming lessons because he took swimming lessons how long ago?
It was last summer.
Yeah, last summer, and we don't want him to lose that. And we know it's the number one cause of death with those with autism. So I highly encourage anybody listening that if they have a kiddo on the spectrum, just try to find somebody in your area that's good with special needs kids swimming lessons because it's super important. But anyway, we got to the pool, and of course I'm like, all right, well, he's like, Daddy's going to go swimming. And I'm like, okay, Daddy will go swimming. I'm going to go put my feet in. And he's like, okay, go put my feet in. And so I went and I put my feet in, and then he's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll put my feet in too. So he put his feet in, and eventually we got in.
Yeah,
and
that's how it is every time with him.
And then he wanted me to move him around in a circle, you know, in the pool to make waves and stuff. So I used that as a tool to push him to do his swimming routine because he didn't want to swim to the top step, and he didn't want to do a push in, and he didn't want to jump in. And so I said, okay, if you want to go around in circles, you have to swim to the top step. And so he thought about it, and he complied, and he did it. And
you found the reward was worth it
in the pool, and it was free.
Yeah, I know, that's fantastic.
So that was a win-win. It was right near the ocean. I asked him if he wanted to go to the ocean. That was a big fat no. So we didn't go to the ocean. We just went in the pool.
He's hit and miss on the ocean. And I think a lot of that is the sensory of the sand. I think that causes his hit and his miss. Because he does like it once he's in the water, near the water. But getting across the sand to get to the water.
And I think once his feet go into the sand, it gets on his legs, and just the feeling of the sand being stuck to him.
I don't like it either. So
well, I don't like
I
it
understand
either,
where he's coming from, but for him, it just wigs him out a little too much, I think.
So is there anything else that we did for Daddy Summer Camp so far?
Well, that was week 1, which was quite a bit that you did.
So, and listen, most of that stuff was free, you know.
Yeah.
And so back to the airport real quick, you know, Facebook is a beautiful thing. Before Facebook, there was a saying that says everybody's within 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon, the actor. You know, right. So what that means is you have 5 friends between you and Kevin Bacon. So it's basically the same thing on Facebook. You know, it's likely.
I'm 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Okay, well, that'll be another podcast.
Okay, but I'm just saying I am for real.
So you're probably 2 or 3 friends from whatever cool thing your son or daughter likes to do. You know, you have a friend that's involved with that type of thing. So just put it out there. What's the worst thing that can happen? Nobody reply or say no or whatever. You just have to put it out there, and it's amazing what happens. It really is.
It is. I have to share my 3 degrees
to
Kevin Bacon. Since you brought it up.
You're making me hungry.
Well, I didn't mean the bacon part, but so I know personally the makeup artist of Kevin Bacon's wife when she was in the show The Closer.
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
There you go.
And Robin, my friend, she may have actually met Kevin Bacon but I know for sure she's met his wife. So we'll go with 3, possibly 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Boom.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. We'll do the whole Hollywood thing.
We don't have to. I just wanted to share that because I could and I wanted to.
We were extras on a TV show. We touched the Hollywood sign. Blah blah. Blah.
We've had these brushes with fame, but anyway, it was kind of funny.
Our 1 second of fame.
Yes.
But anyway, So summer camps.
Summer camp's good.
Tomorrow is a big Daddy Summer Camp day because we purchased tickets to go to the Kennedy Space Center here in Florida, which is about an hour and a half drive for us. So what I did was I purchased 2 annual passes. So one for me and one for Bryce. And you're going to go with us tomorrow.
I am, because it's Father's Day.
Yeah, and just as a general admission.
And it's my birthday month.
Right.
I'm going for my...
I'm sorry, is it your birthday month?
It is, in case y'all missed that earlier. Wink, wink.
I should have a little ding.
Take a drink every...
I have that little bell.
Every time I say birthday month.
Yeah. But anyway, so I got annual passes for Bryce and I, and there's a discount through AAA if you're AAA members.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
So, that's our phone.
That we thought everything was off. Boom.
So Bryce and I can visit there for a whole nother year as often as we want. So I thought, whenever he has a day off from school, like, it's a teacher day or it's some other holiday that normal working people don't get off, that I can take him up there and we can enjoy it ourselves, and, it'll be good because, let's face it, you're not as interested in that as him and I would be.
No,
anyway.
We had the discussion, and I was 100% on board that it didn't make sense to pay $30 extra for me to go back, or was it $40 difference? I think it might have been $40 more. And I don't have any plans to go back, but I know that you had even mentioned you'd like to go up by yourself because there are some IMAX movies that you want to see. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's fantastic that you'll be able to go up there and do some stuff that interests you. That really wouldn't interest me. Mm-hmm. And I love the idea that you'll be able to take Bryce on those days where I'm working and it's in the middle of the week where it would be low traffic, and you guys can just go have a daddy Sunday.
Plus, there's a
Sunday. Does that make you hungry? I meant like Sun and Daddy Day.
Sunday does not make me hungry.
Ice cream Sunday?
Oh, ice cream Sunday. Yeah, that would be nice. But another perk of having the annual pass is that rocket launches are becoming more frequent now at the Cape because of SpaceX. So they're planning on doing a rocket launch almost every month. So the deal with the rocket launch is you have to purchase the Kennedy Space Center pass, and then separately you can purchase a launch viewing pass. So if you have the annual pass already, you don't have to purchase the Space Center pass, just the launch viewing pass, and then... So, however many launches, I can see. I hear him in the background.
I hear him. He's very excited. There's a rocket going on right now. Speaking of rockets, and that's what he's excited about. He's watching his movie, and he's really excited that he's seeing a rocket right now.
So anyway.
I know that was distracting you.
So we're looking forward to that tomorrow at the Space Center, and then we'll do our next podcast. We'll cover that. Whatever there.
And I was saying to you, I think it's great to get Bryce the annual pass. Also because I think he'll grow into it during the next 12 months.
He's having so much fun.
He's very excited. So what he may not take interest in tomorrow, he may like something else in 6 months from now, and even a year from now. I really think this age,
he's blossoming
from 5.5 to 6.5. He's going to really start to take more interest in this kind of stuff. So it's good timing.
Yeah. So funny story. We had to drop our truck off at a local repair shop to get a tire fixed. And I checked out the city bus route, and I thought, well, we'll just drop the truck off and catch the bus, and then the bus stop's within walking distance of our house, and it'll be a good daddy summer camp little outing for us.
Yeah, because Bryce likes He doesn't like buses, but he likes it if you call him a big van.
Well, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
So Bryce had a bad experience at an airport with a bus driver, and it's nothing that the bus driver did that was bad. He sang Wheels on the Bus, yes. And for whatever reason, it freaked Bryce out, and it really traumatized him.
Yes, it did.
And bless his heart. So from then on, he does not want to get on any bus. So I thought, well, how are we going to do this? So we start walking to the bus stop, and I saw a bus going in the other direction, and I knew it was going to come back around to the stop eventually. And I said, oh, there's the bus. We're going to get on the bus. Oh, no bus. So he starts, getting anxious about that. And I'm like, okay, so I need to switch that up to call it a big blue van. I said, well, you want to ride in a big blue van? And he's like, oh, okay. And so turns out we got to the bus stop, and I didn't realize the bus schedule. I thought it ran every 10 minutes. It was every hour.
Oopsie.
So I'm like, all right, buddy, let's just start walking. And I think the car place is probably 3 or 4 miles from home.
It's a pretty good hike on a hot summer day.
Yeah, so we started walking down the sidewalk, and there's stores along the way, so we stopped in a gas station to get some water. And then further down, we stopped at McDonald's to get some more water. And he didn't mind really walking because he liked the traffic. He liked the cars. And he
You said you
enjoyed
kept
it.
asking him, are
I
you
asked
having
him.
fun? And he
Yeah.
said yes.
Yep.
And he would tell you if he wasn't.
And so he said he was having a good time. And we kept walking, and I think we made it to the last bus stop before our house. There's like maybe two stops before our house. And it was like a 10-minute wait there for the next bus, according to the schedule. So I'm like, all right, let's wait here. He's like, where's the big blue van? I was like, it's coming. And it was so hot. It was very hot outside.
Yeah.
And so here comes the bus, but it's not blue, it's white. And I'm like, oh no, how's this gonna work out? I'm like, here it is, it's the big white van. He's like, okay, it's the big white van, it's not a bus. I said, no, it's not a bus, it's a big white van. So we got on the bus, aka big white van, and went to the next stop, which was closer, saved us probably half a mile of walking. And it went really good. And I asked him, I was like, do you want to ride that again? And he's like, yeah, okay. So this coming Monday,
it's on the calendar.
That's Monday's adventure. And the bus is free. I mean, this is another free thing. So we're just going to go to our local bus stop. We're going to hop on that bus, and we're just going to ride it around the city.
I think that's so wonderful. And Bryce will love that.
He loves it. He loved the ride that we had, that short ride. He really loved that. So I know that we're just going to have a time for a couple hours just riding around the city.
He mentioned it today.
Did he?
Yes, he did. He said Monday we ride the big white van.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's totally on board and looking forward to it.
You just got to feed on what he's interested in, and it just lights him up.
I know.
It's amazing.
So it's exciting. And we're just going to continue to come up with ideas. Some will be repeats because the swimming needs to be a repeat. If we can do that once a week, that would be great. And I'm sure we'll come up with other ideas. And we do have like a children's museum around here, and they do have bowling and skee ball. But I love the fact that we're coming up with
outside the
ideas
box.
That are outside of the box, but in Bryce's wheelhouse and inexpensive, if not free.
Yeah.
And, because we do live on a budget. That's the reality of things. We really can't. We're not in a position to just go out there and spend $30 to $40 a day on some form of entertainment. We're just not.
I mean, these summer camps are a couple $100 a week, and it's like, dang, what can I do that's less expensive that would have just as much fun or even more fun for him?
Yeah.
So, as far as like the music camp goes, I can do my own music camp. I play guitar. I can pick up some bongos or something and do my own music camp for $30, or something.
Yeah, or you could take them to a music store one day, or just different
we could
things
try
like
different
that.
Instruments in the music store.
Exactly. I'm thinking that would be a good thing to put on your calendar.
And that brings me to, remember when we used to go to the store when it was somebody's or Valentine's Day or something, we'd pick out a card and read it to each other in the store and then put it back on the
Yes,
shelf.
we would, because we were on a really tight budget. That's after I got laid off from the bank.
It's like, I don't want to pay $4 or $5 for a card here. Let's just pick out the best one and read it.
Yeah. And then they came up with text, and then we could take a picture with our phone and text it to each other.
Oh.
Oh,
no.
Budget item
that's
ideas.
bad.
Boom. Oh, my goodness. Well, I just want to say that in all seriousness, watching you and Bryce, these past week and a half, it has been so joyful for my heart, because this time last year, we were in a whole different place. And I know Bryce, he was still coming along, but it wasn't even just that he's changed so much. It's just you were spiraling down as Bryce was still in all his therapies, and there was just so much going on, and we were still spinning. And, I could see you spiraling into depression. I had all that going on with Bryce, but we've worked through so much, and we've intentionally done so much this year. Actually since September, we really have tried to get a grip on it. But, all that we've done with this marriage class that we've taken, with our relationship, really focusing on Bryce, going to the TACA conference, just working together, talking together, communicating, and looking at all of this in more positive light and dwelling on the positive things and what can we do versus just trying to fix him or undo. What a world of difference we're at present day, June 2019, than we were in June 2018.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that I can't even express how happy that makes me. And I know that we still have mountains ahead of us, not oblivious to that. But I'm so happy right now that we just have so much joy and so much happiness going on with all three of us. And I feel it. And Bryce can feel our vibes too, and you can tell that he can tell we're happy and he's happy, and he still wants to come in between our snuggles, but it's okay. And he'll say, what does he say? Move the gate.
Yeah, open the gate.
Open the gate so he can come in between us when we're hugging. But, we'll be happy to have a family hug. And it's just, we're in a really, really good place right now.
A notch above right now. It's just really at a high level of joy here. And
it is. So I just
really
want to
nice.
bask in that because, again, I always know that there's ups and there's downs, but I just want to give a shout out to God and to you and to us and just to the world that right now we're on an up, and I'm loving it.
And it is a roller coaster.
And it's not just because it's my birthday month. Oh, I had to say it one more time.
Hey, it's already been my birthday, and I didn't even cover it, I don't think.
I know. That was in May. We may have mentioned it. Anyway, it's been a joy talking to you. I'm looking forward to the Space Center tomorrow.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week to talk some more. We hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for tuning in, and
see ya.